Hello, everybody. Everybody ready out there? Here we go. Here you go, everybody. Good morning. And let me put my horn away. Now, that song was written in about 1973, and the name of it is called Spanish Green. And the author is me. That was a song I wrote, and I wanted to play it for you because if you want to hear the rest of it or hear it, recorded, you can just go to my website, therealronmiscavige.com. Go to music, and it'll come up. All the songs on the album are there. You can sample them, and you can hear the full arrangement of it. Anyway, it's called Spanish Green. So there you go. I thought I'd just throw that in as a little change up here. And this is Life After Scientology, and it's the only program on TV or the internet where the host comes on to start the show and we'll play a song. Well, that song, let's see, 70s, that's about 50 years old. So that qualifies as an old song. And the host is going to play that and then interview somebody about actually a morbid subject, I would say. But that's how this show starts, and I welcome all of you to it. And again, I'm Ron Miscavige, and I have our special guest back today for another round of Scientology Lies, Karen de la Carriere. And Karen, I want to welcome you, and I love having you on. So let's continue on with Scientology Lies. On one of our prior shows, we talked about how much they lie and how it's a way of life with them. And let's kick it off with there was a guy, I think his name was Ryan Prescott, and he wrote a book, and apparently poorly written, and not really checked for grammatical errors, and just probably had the pressure on him with the gun to his head. You got to get this out by a certain time. Skip quality. You got to make this deadline. Do you think that's how it happened, Karen, or what? It's over to you now.
In some ways, I feel sorry for this clown, Ryan Prescott. He wrote 2 books, and he obviously is just a little pawn or puppet for OSA because he has every single little trinket that OSA used to attack the critics. OSA means Office of Special Affairs. So this clown, Ryan Prescott, wrote these 2 books, and they got savagely bad reviews on Amazon. And I mean, he does write in a way which is incoherent. This is supposed to be a Delphi graduate. His punctuation, his spelling, he's hyperventilating in his writing. It's just awful. I haven't read it, but I've had numerous reports on it. Anyway, the reason we bring up and by the way, the books are a tissue of lies. They're lies on Leah Remini, they're lies on Mike Grinder, and they're lie, like the pathetic charade they put Mike Grinder's daughter up to attack her own father.
I know.
The accusations got worse and worse and worse and worse. Even accusations they never even thought of 5 years ago, suddenly this happened, and then so it's just hogwash.
I'll tell you, just let me put a little aside here. Don't you think somebody should Photoshop his face and make him out to be a clown? Like with the ball on the nose and whites on the. I'd love to see that. I mean, in real life, he is a clown, not like a clown. A clown in the circus knows he's putting on a charade. In other words, he knows he's being a clown for the moment, and he goes and he takes off the makeup, and he's in his real identity then. But this guy is unknowingly a clown.
Yes.
Do you see what I'm saying? And I think we would do him a favor if he saw himself. I don't know who would do it, and I don't know how they'd put it out, but Photoshop it where you can see the round ball in his nose and how they do that clown makeup. I think he would look at himself and maybe say, you know what, maybe I am a clown. Maybe I should quit doing this shit, you know? Anyway, go on. I had to get that in, Karen.
He's second generation, born into it all.
I know.
But the reason I bring up Ryan Prescott is he wrote a contentious letter to the governor of California, and he put it on his Facebook page. And Ryan Prescott had this righteous indignation that the governor had cut off funding for his parents who had 10 purification rundown centers. And apparently there's another scam. You see, the cult's greed for money is beyond anything you've ever seen. Not only are they tax-free, a 501c3, but they want to scam the United States government, deep pockets, and milk the government for cash. And this has been going on in this particular show today with Ron. We're going to itemize how the cult is scamming and has scammed multi-million dollars from the US government. So it pays no taxes and it milks more. God. So here's what Ryan Prescott wrote to the governor. I've got the letter over there, but it's too boring to read out a full letter. And he said, you know, these prisoners were they wanted drug rehab, and we were being paid by the government. All my parents' 10 purification centers were being paid. And then Governor Newsom sent his troops and they investigated and they looked into it. They've cut off the funding. That is so mean and so outrageous. All these prisoners won't benefit from Hubbard technology due to the governor of California. He says, I'm going to expose you, and I'm going to expose how evil this is.
Oh boy.
He is a clown. He's bemoaning that the governor cut off the scammed money the cult was billing the U.S. government.
Oh. That guy should read the book How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Believe me, what he's doing is not going to win a friend and bring about a desired result. But anyway, go on.
Well, yesterday we talked about this, and today, even though other people have memorialized on the internet, once you put something up, it's there forever. You can never pull it down. People come. So copies were made. But he either got embarrassed or somebody told him, hey, you're looking like a fool. And he pulled it off his Facebook timeline. It was on his main wall on Facebook. Yeah. And he either deleted it or he hid it, only his friend. But by now it's all over the place.
Yeah.
Oh, what a pathetic, even this is an author who writes books. The letter is just a joke. Now, let's switch over to some chiropractors that did you personally know those swindlers?
Oh, you talking about
billions of dollars?
Wait, what was your name again?
Those chiropractors in the New York area that swindled millions of dollars. What was their name?
I can't bring in the name to my mind now.
What was the name of those swindlers, boy, they milked.
I can't think of the name right now, but there was two brothers and the
Yeah,
father. They were all chiropractors. They had a chiropractic practice. But I remember Jay. Jay was one of the chiropractors that pulled this off.
was it Spino?
That's right. That's right. Spino. Jay Spino, and he had a brother and his
Jeff,
father.
Jeffrey and Jay Spino.
Yeah, and Jay I knew, and be honest with you, he was a very nice guy. That's how he come off to me, a very real guy, and it's hard for me to even fathom how he could get involved in something like this because they weren't doing bad before they started this stuff. I mean, they had a fairly successful law practice. I mean, not law practice, chiropractic practice, and I don't know what got into him. Maybe he just got pumped up by OSA or thinking he was more powerful and he that corrupted him and whatever. But I don't know what got into his mind. But these guys did bad stuff. I mean, they conned the government out of millions and millions of dollars, and chances are they're going to go to jail. And it's
Well, it was an $80 million.
yeah. No, that's not nickels and dimes. That's not chump change.
80 million
Yeah.
was frauded out of Medicare, and all the defendants have pled guilty.
Well, I'll tell you how good he was.
Scientologists were, Ron, when you're a very high roller in Las Vegas, they meet you they know, when you tell them you're coming and you drop $1 million here and $1 million there, they meet you at the airport in a limousine.
Right.
And you get like a penthouse suite and you get the most luxurious food and caviar. Yeah. Well, they were high rollers. These Medicare frauders that sucked out 80 million
Wow.
of Medicare from the US government were lavishly treated. And I don't know what percentage they gave the cult of Scientology. Because I will tell you, the cult of Scientology does not have any conscience in taking dirty money.
Yeah.
None. My husband, Jeffrey Augustine, my beloved husband, Jeffrey Augustine, has been going down to he watches this kind of stuff avidly. There's another Medicare fraud in California. Medicare is called Medi-Cal, California. And there's this woman, she's Nation of Islam, I think she's a Louis Farrakhan favorite. Her name is Hanan Islam.
Yeah.
And she has a son called Riza Islam.
And she is supposedly a doctor, right?
Oh,
I know it's an online company, and if you send them some money, they'll send you a certificate saying that you're a doctor. Well, Karen, let me tell you something. I tell people I used to be a doctor, but I lost my patience. In that little humorous statement, there's more truth in that than her calling herself a doctor.
Well, this was a con artist of magnitude.
Oh yeah.
In the cult for years, 20 years Scientologist and brazen criminal, brazen. So she sucked out like those brothers in New York,
yeah.
Jay and Jeffrey Spinoza.
Yeah, Spina. Jay Spina.
Spina.
Yeah.
She milked out 3.8 million from Medicare, Medi-Cal, on fabricated purification rundowns that never even happened.
I know.
She was billing the U.S. government's Medicare for these procedures. She actually got names and ages and all this from some school in the Los Angeles area that handled poor black children. She got the names and all, and fabricated that she was putting them through purification rundowns. See, this whole area of purification rundown is lots of scam in that area, huge amount of scam. Scientology is like a gangster thuggery entity that will take dirty money because Hanan Islam was licensed by ABLE, which is part of Church of Scientology International.
Right.
Ron, how much is 10% of $3.8 million?
It would be about 380,000.
380,000. Church of Scientology feathered their nests.
Wow.
I do hope that the government do a clawback. Do you understand clawback? When illegal...
No, wait a minute. You should explain that. I saw that in the notes, but I don't understand what that is, Karen. Could you tell me, please?
Yeah. When someone has done an outright illegal criminal scam and sucked out money from other people, by the time the prosecutors come in to handle the pyramid scheme or the Ponzi scheme or whatever, they can claw back the funds that were illegally ripped off.
I got it.
Right? That's called clawback.
Yeah.
Claws.
Okay.
They take it back. For
Okay.
example, that famous Santa Barbara criminal, I go blank on names. the guy in Santa Barbara who
Was it Slotkin?
Slotkin, Reed
Yeah.
Slotkin. Thank you.
Reed Slotkin.
Yeah. Well, when the government went in, they seized his artwork, his wine cellar with bottles of wine that were $30,000 a bottle. They could take all that in clawback.
I got it.
Meaning you can get it back. But they can also claw back if he says, look, I don't have this $5 million I gave the cult of Scientology. I don't even have that $5 million. Well, the government has powers to claw back because it was illegal money, illegally gotten criminal. So it can even claw back from the recipients of the dirty money.
I got it.
So I'm hoping that this, oh, by the way, this Hanan Islam thing is going on right as we speak. All the preliminary hearings have been already done, and the trial starts in 6 weeks or 5 weeks or whatever the actual trial starts. And you know, the cult is worried because OSA shows up to Seog, OSA personnel. Why would OSA Seog be showing up in the courtroom? Because they got percentage of the dirty money. Scientology pretend, this is another lie. We're talking about lies. Do you know that they pretend that they're the most ethical group on the planet?
I know. Yeah, Scientologists are the most ethical group on the planet. Yeah. Well, you can say anything. Any words can come out of your mouth. It doesn't matter if it has validity or anything to do with reality, okay? And
they point the finger of financial irregularities on others.
I know.
Like Mark Headley did some ad and sold some gold. This was all authorized. But the real financial crooks, they've done so many illegal charges on credit cards that at one time they lost their American Express privileges due to absolute outright fraud.
Wow.
So these are just two examples. There was a dentist called Renee. By the way, if any of the audience really want to read about the crooks that frauded Medicare of $80 million, please go to my husband's site called Scientology Money Project. and you'll get the whole story. Very interesting.
Of the Spina brothers.
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
But Tony Ortega would be the one to go to on Hanan Islam, because
Right.
he's been following the trial and all the preliminary actions very well.
That's good. Yeah.
We're just giving you highlights, and then if you're interested in the story, go to the internet and read it all. So the fraud is that Scientology presents itself as an ethical entity that's going to raise your ethics. And and then, Ron, give a couple of examples. Come on, chime in here, of how Scientology uses the stick, a heavy baton, to slam ethics in on you, the individual. Give me one example.
Okay.
It's heavy hazard treatment, no?
They
threaten.
They work from a point of view of holier than thou. In other words, the attitude that an ethics officer will take, or anybody who's going to, quote, put your ethics in, they take on this assumption of almost like a pontifical figure, that they could do no wrong, they are perfectly ethical, and you're the bad one. And if something were to happen to you, you would get punished for making it happen to you, and you'd have to pay for auditing to show and realize on your part how you pulled in whatever happened to you, and how out ethics you were to dramatize that particular, maybe a past lifetime thing. And you would then say, yep, I was guilty, I made this happen, and you're right, and the church is all holy, and you can do no wrong, and I can only do wrong. It is so convoluted, it's hard for me to even assume that goes on. But that does go on. That does go on. I'll tell you an incident that happened to me in California when I was in the church. My wife used to go on missions, and she had to get a car rental, and I went into town and I had a purchase order made out to that car dealer. He had a Hertz rental place, and I gave him the purchase order, and he says, well, now, in order for us to do this, you have to give your credit card, but we're going to use the purchase order. That's what he said to me. He turned out he didn't use the purchase order. He used my wife's our credit card. So I went into town and I saw him, and I said, hey, wait a minute. What is this? What are you doing here? Because I gave you a purchase order, but you used our credit card. He says, well, I never intended to use the purchase order. I always intended to use your credit card. And I says, and you lied to me. He says, yeah. I said, you're a fucking thief, man. Now, I ripped him a new asshole, I'll be honest with you. And, you know, with the church, if you spend money unauthorizedly, you can't get it back.
Right.
Somehow, this guy came to do an acting job on the grounds, complained about me, and I was taken to task for creating a possible bad PR situation with a thief. There's a first-hand example of how they assume they're the Pope and they can do no wrong, and you are only bad, and you've done all the wrong. And I can tell you this, with the people like Hanan or Islam, what her name is, they will distance themselves for that and say that, well, this was totally on her doing. We had nothing to do with it. The Spina brothers, they were bad always. We have nothing to do with them. Yet they were favored as whales within the church itself for years and years, and I'm sure she was too. So that one with that car dealer who took our credit card and took the money and had no intention of using a purchase order, and said so when I confronted him with it, I got in trouble for taking him to task on it. I've never told that story before. That's a true story.
Yeah, that's a good one. What I want to stress is how the cult keep you almost in fear of how bad it can get for you if you don't toe the line. So the ethics punishments are often sadistic.
Yeah.
You must clean toilet. They've got a punishment that started with Hubbard of you have to clean with a toothbrush. Well, what kind of tool is a toothbrush?
No.
You have to clean toilet areas, dumpsters with a toothbrush. You have to make dumpsters spotlessly clean. The kind of punishments they give you with sleep deprivation, cut off, can't talk to anyone. They throw you into isolation and punishments.
Yep.
This is a standard repeated thing. So people live in a kind of fear. They do. It's
Yeah.
a kind of fear.
They do.
Yeah.
And of course, I never got right down to the depths of being willing to just be a zero. I always reserved some bit of my self beingness, my personality. That wait a minute, I can't accept the fact that I'm that fucking bad. There's something really wrong here, and of course, that saved me from getting, cleaning up a bathroom with my tongue, which Mark Ginga Nelson was told to do, and he did it. He licked the floor of a bathroom with his tongue.
Yeah.
Here's another one. The medical liaison officer's husband, Tom.
Who ordered that he lick the bathroom?
I don't know who ordered it, but that was an order. Then that's on the internet. But here's another one. The medical liaison officer, her husband was told he was bad. He had to run around the entire Cine building, which is a tremendously big building in Hemet, California. It was a hot day. He ran around the building, and at the end, he had a heart attack. There you go. That pays off, huh?
Yeah.
What kind of deviant mind would do something like that? Well, I'll tell you, people in the Church of Scientology who get so used to thinking they're above it all, they're above the law, they can lie, they can say anything they want, and they can tell people to do anything they want, and people are going to do it. Well, count me out. Here I am on television all over the world, and you are, and we're saying, you know what? You're bad.
That's the lie. The lie is that you walk into the cult for freedom and advanced wisdom, advanced knowledge, advanced savvy and know-how and ability. But the whole of the cult's techniques, every single person who's speaking out, every single person who's today a critic was first brutalized in the cult.
Yep.
Or punished severely, or just made the universe collapse.
Yep.
Heinous punishments. And then they leave. The earlier beginning to any criticism the cult gets, the earlier beginning is the cult went out of control, which they do all the time, in slamming the punishment so hard that the person then departs.
Yep.
Certainly, my punishments were why I left.
Yep.
Absolutely. But I may not have had your strength, when I was summoned to inbase, my world collapsed.
Yeah.
I actually had no space. I became a dot.
Yep.
I became a subatomic particle. Do you remember when you hugged me?
Absolutely, I do. And I tell you,
Sol, 35 years ago.
Yeah.
Was it 35 years ago? It was 30 years ago. And I was a wreck. I bet you could see me look. That was the beginning of the end for me.
Yeah, I know that.
A human being has a threshold. And when you hit that limit, that's it, they're done. You hit your threshold.
Yeah.
You hit your limit.
Yep,
right?
I did.
I just love the way you and Becky plotted your escape.
For 6 months.
For
6 months we had a plot and escape. I'm the father of the chairman of the board of Scientology, and I'm 76 years old, and we literally had to plan it for 6 months. But I got to thank Adam Ravini, the music director. His treatment of me was the final straw. I couldn't write anything that got approved. Yet, as a composer, I had gotten a contract with Chapels Publishing in '75 for my compositions. This is a professional company who paid me in advance for what I wrote. But in his eyes, he thought it would be good to keep me down, and I'd go day after week after month. Not anything would get approved. I thank you, Adam. Yeah, you broke. That was the straw, and I got to validate you because, man, my life has changed so much. It is unreal. Listen, you get away from there, things happen that you never know you could do, and there's nothing like freedom, and it's a credit to the spirit of man that people who come out, some of them come forward and tell their stories, and like a person like yourself, you're exposing them, and it is appreciated by me and by, I'm sure, tens of thousands of people who hear you talk, Karen.
Oh, thank you, Ron. Well, yeah, tens of thousands, tens of thousands. And anyway, um, I think Ron has a lot of words of wisdom here. You and Google is your friend. The internet is your friend. Type in keywords if you're researching Scientology. Type in keywords such as Scientology horror story.
Yeah.
Or Scientology kidnapped and held against will. You'd be surprised that you would 10 hundreds of stories. Just be imaginative in how you research Scientology if you're interested.
Yeah.
But anyway, are you on Christmas week? Is this channel on? It'll be the 22nd. Next Sunday will be the 22nd. Are you going to be alive and on the air, Ron?
Oh, I probably will be, and I just feel I have a duty to do this. And
yeah,
be honest with you, I enjoy doing it. I enjoy exposing people like this. And I wish if you like this program and like what we do, you should subscribe to it if you haven't already. And when you subscribe, press the bell. And if you want to help out and become a patron, that would be very much appreciated. You can do that. Go to the Real Ron, the realronmiscavige.com, because I do another show called Life Lessons. And you can see how you can become a patron. And also, the song I played at the beginning, you should hear the arrangement of that song, because my producer at that time, Graham Dodd, did a very nice arrangement. It's a very nice song. So, Karen, do you have any words of wisdom to say before we sign off?
I want to just give a little pitch for you. In the lower right-hand corner, there's a little button called subscribe. If you just click that, immediately a little bell will appear to the right side. Click on the bell, because YouTube will then give you notifications when Ron has a new video up. You're not going to get spammed. All you're going to do is stay with this program and know when there's a new video out. And more subscribers help the whole channel. YouTube has algorithms of videos it promotes. And when there's a lot of subscribers, that helps the algorithm. Also, can you please become a patron? You can just do $5 a month. Something this doesn't mean you have to dig deep in your wallet. Instead of being just a spectator, join in and feel you're a contributor. You're part of us, part of the inner circle here. So I just wanted to give a little pitch there.
Well,
It's, I'll tell you, what I want to end with is that truth is a very dear thing to most people's hearts. Yeah. Lies are yucky. And so many people seek truth. In their own way, they are truth seekers.
Yep.
They want the light. They want sunshine to disinfect the rays of hot sun to disinfect those wormy little bacterias and viruses and stuff. And I like to think that we shine light on the dark, secret places and crevices of the cult of Scientology, of which there are many. And Ron and I talk from 82 years, the best years of our lives, being in all of that. The least we can do is to at least blow it all out of the water, state the facts, so that you then don't give up the best years of your life.
You're right.
Be a truth seeker. No matter what spam the cult sends you, please look at both sides.
Yeah.
Please look at the other side of the coin. Be your own detective to really get facts before you get lured in.
Well,
all right, my dear Ron.
I am not going to add another word. I was going to play something to end the show, but guess what? I'm going to save it for the next one. I'd rather leave you with the message that Karen just gave. From Karen, from Ron Miscavige, we wish you, and Sean, my producer, we wish you the best. Tune in. I'll see you on the next episode. Bye-bye for now.
Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.